Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Bree Buonomo. Hi if you're new here, or hey if you've been here before. And today I am going to be doing my NaNoWriMo announcement and a little bit of like Preptober discussion. So without further ado, let's just jump into it. So for NaNoWriMo 2021, I do have two intentions that I am setting out with. Though I will say I'm probably going to be a NaNoWriMo because I don't know if I'll actually write 50,000 words. If you're new here, if this is the first video that you are watching of mine recently, hi, thanks for showing up. But also then you might not know that I am currently in graduate school, finishing up some credits so that I can be a licensed professional counselor. And in order to do that, I had to take 3 classes this semester to be able to kind of get the requirements finished on time. So this was not quite expected when I did my goals for 2021. Like, it was something that I knew I wanted to do, and I was dragging my feet on it last year. And then in like February or March maybe of 2021, I like last minute decided that I was going to do grad school and get it out of the way now. So I only have like about a year of the program total, but this is the heaviest part now that I'm in this fall semester. So with that in mind, my semester is easy as far as content, but it's still very demanding as I'm going in person to school 3 times a week, and I also have papers and things to write. So my writing has decreased dramatically the last couple months. And looking forward to November, I do have 2 papers that are due the first week of December, and I also have 2 papers due in November. So there is going to be a lot of writing that I still need to do for school, and I'm still contemplating on if I'm going to count those words towards my NaNoWriMo goal, because I'm already being a rebel, as I'll talk about a little bit more in what I'm going to do for NaNoWriMo. So because of that, I don't know if 50,000 words is going to happen, but I am still going to try to write. And now with that preamble out of the way, let's talk about the 2 projects I will be working on for NaNoWriMo 2021. The first project, if you've been here for a little while, especially in the live streams that I've been in the last few months, because I think we planned this back in like July, I have been hinting at a experiment that I'm going to be doing with my co-writer, Caitlin. If you are new again, or it's just been a while since you've caught up on some of my goings-ons, I have been writing a book with my co-writer, Caitlin, for quite some time, and we've been doing a series called The Co-Writer Chronicles on my channel, where we talk about one specific book we were doing, which is an adult fantasy book, and it's kind of like high fantasy dystopian style writing. So we've been working on that, but we decided like we wanted to do a palette cleanser for both of us because we've been so focused on this project in some capacity for the last 10 years that we wanted to see like what else we can try to do. And for the first weekend of November, which is project 1, we are going to attempt to write an adult rom-com for the first weekend. So the first weekend I think is like the 5th, 6th, and 7th of November. I'm pretty sure it's correct. But for that weekend, we're going to write an adult rom-com, and we are going to get very meta. So the whole premise is like, you have these 2 writers that hate each other that are stuck writing in a cabin, probably for a week in our book, but we're doing it in a weekend. So they're going to write in like a cabin for a week, and they have to come up with like the next best American story kind of idea. And it's, romantic, like possibly enemies to lovers, romantic style novel, and I'm very excited for that. So we decided that we were going to go full meta, and we were like, let's rent a cabin, like an Airbnb, and write the story in a weekend, because I do think rom-coms are probably a little bit easier to write as far as like you don't have as much world building, more of like a character development and like plotting things out. So that's what we're going to do for both of our like joint projects in NaNoWriMo. And as we were looking for Airbnbs, we randomly stumbled upon a yurt, which, if you don't know what a yurt is, it's essentially like a glorified tent that, does have heat and does have water, but it's a very, like, it's just a bougie tent in the middle of like 80 acres of land. And of course, being the weirdos we are, we're like, we're going to write in a yurt. So for the first weekend of November, we will be writing a rom-com in a yurt, and we are going to try to write a whole novel. Obviously, maybe it's just going to be a fast draft and it's probably not going to be good, but you know, there's 2 of us as well. So we're going to see how many words we can actually get in a first fast draft of a rom-com. And I'm very excited for that. So that is my first NaNoWriMo goal, which I do think we'll get a decent amount of words between the 2 of us. And we're also going to try, which is new for me, is we're also going to try dictation as well. So despite writing on like the keyboard and everything, we are also going to try dictating when we're like chatting and we're not like we need a break from the screen. So I've never wrote a novel or like really contributed to a novel just through dictation because I have a really hard time imagining what I'm saying and what would sound good. So that's going to be an experiment. And if it works really well, then I might continue using that throughout the rest of NaNoWriMo. So there's a lot of new things that are going to happen. And yes, that whole experience is going to be recorded and that will be a vlog in and of itself. So definitely stay tuned for that. I'm really, really excited for our yurt adventure. It's also not going to be a full weekend because we can't check in till 3 o'clock on Friday. And then we have to leave, I think, by like noon or something. So obviously we're really going to have like maybe 48 hours to write instead of the whole like 72, but either way, it's gonna be a fun time. And that leads me to my second NaNoWriMo project that I would like to work on because I should be finishing up my prophecy project edits hopefully in the month of October, which that is more of my Preptober because I would like to start a clean slate for November by finishing prophecy project so I can feel at ease with that and I can get that out to readers so that they can tell me after NaNoWriMo's over whether or not they think I need to tweak anything more. So for NaNoWriMo then, the one novel that has been on my mind for quite some time lately and that I've actually have been plotting out for once, which that also might be another video coming up about me doing plotting for the first time, hint hint, but that is going to be my vampire novel. So I don't have a title for this yet. I don't create titles until usually I'm done with them, but Project Vampire is a deep exploration into abusing power and having like authority figures in your life who take advantage of you. So that is kind of the exploration I want to do in the lens of a vampire novel. So it is a vampire novel. There could be a romance in it, but it might not be the type of romance you're expecting. And it is adult. So there are definitely going to be topics that are going to be sensitive to some people and might not be suitable for every reader. So that is definitely, there's a lot that is going to be in this novel that I have not written before, but I've definitely like enjoyed or at least like gotten something out of when I've read them in other novels. So I'm very excited. As I mentioned, this is going to be the first novel that I think I'm going to actually be plotting out before I write it, which is huge for me because usually I am much more of I get a couple strands and I know kind of where they should fall and then I discover write almost the entire thing. So I'm very excited and I do hope to have a video before November of me actually plotting it, but with how chaotic my life is, I don't know how that's gonna go, but we'll see. Yeah, I'm just very, very excited. So even though it does sound ambitious because I want to do 2 different novels in the same month, I did this last year as well. So if you go watch my vlogs from 2020, then you might know that I also did 2 novels last year and one ended up being more of the focus for the most of the month than the other one did. But I don't know if I'm going to hit 50,000 and I'm not going to pressure myself to write 50,000 words because my project overall, like I'm definitely aiming as a total word count 100,000 for the vampire novel. Whereas the rom-com, I'm going to be happy if we get 40,000 for a first draft because normally rom-coms are a lot like shorter and quicker and fun. So I'm like I said, there's no pressure on what we get for either one, but I am hoping to at least get my vampire novel started because ideally I would love Prophecy Project to be my debut. And if I can pitch it and an agent likes it, I would like to have the vampire novel up next, potentially as something to pitch for a second novel. So we'll see. But long story short, that is what I'm going to be doing for NaNoWriMo. And for Preptober, I do want to plot out both of those novels and I want to finish Prophecy Project so that that can be out of the way for both of them. So we'll see. I hopefully will have at least 1 or 2 videos about like prepping for NaNoWriMo, but I don't know. Don't hold me to anything because I'm so busy and I get very stressed very easily, so I don't want to hold myself to any high standard and then feel super defeated when I can't get that standard met. But overall, I'm very excited. I'm so happy to have my vampire novel coming to the forefront, because I think I mentioned this in many other videos, but I'm a person that when I get an idea, I have to marinate it for quite some time. And my vampire novel, this particular novel, started in 2011. I got an idea. Now, I was also fresh off the like Twilight craze and, you know, the True Blood series and the TV show and like all of that. Like, I was huge into vampires, as most people were at that point. But Twilight was really big. And I always knew that, like, when I read Twilight and I wasn't fully satisfied, I always knew that I wanted to write something that was more accurate to how vampires should be. Because vampires are very glamorized, and I love that aspect as well. But I always just thought, in reality, if vampires were here, they'd be a lot grittier and it would be not as romantic. And that's the story I wanted to write. But in 2011, I was still like fan fiction writing. And even though I didn't write a lot of fan fiction, like I remember writing that story and looking back years later going like, oh my God, like here's me standing in front of a mirror describing my main character's looks and, you know, just very fan fiction cliches. But very small snippets of that remnant from 2011 are making their way into my current adult novel. And I do think it's going to be a very fun and meaningful novel to write for, in many ways, and for myself. So I'm very excited to start it, and I do hope that it goes well and I can get somewhere with that book, because if Prophecy Project doesn't make it on shelves first, I think this could be a contender. Yeah, so anyway, that is my plans for NaNoWriMo 2021 and a little bit of Preptober. Let me know down below what you think of my plans, and if, you know, you're on board with me being a nano rebel. And also tell me, what are your nano plans? Do you have a novel in mind that you're going to write? Are you skipping nano this year? Are you also going to be a nano rebel, or are you sticking to the tried and true method of hitting 50,000 and trying to write every day? Let me know down below, and until next time, guys, I will see you then. Bye!